Live, this is one for the record. I'm Diana. There's Max. He's over there somewhere. And today is March 19th, 2014. A shout out to one of my commentators. Shout out to Bruce. Happy birthday. All the way out there in Oregon. Woohoo! Alrighty then. And here's your news updates for today. The Watchers watching the world. Los Angeles neighborhood tests positive for hazardous lead contamination. Heads up, that's in Boyle Heights. Heads up. First direct evidence of cosmic inflation. Alrighty then. Moving on. E&E News, Energy News, Japan, Fukushima. Today, KPFA in Japan. I've learned over 800 people have disappeared from Fukushima plant. May have been killed or died during work. Government. Actually in business with the Yakuza. Now, I think the radiation probably got them. That's what, you know, it's probably the radiation. Alright. Cover up. Alrighty then. Also today, wife and Navy sailor. Our 1-year-old has brain cancer and spinal cancer resulting from Fukushima exposure. Wheelchair-bound Navy sailor. It's now affecting my arms and my hands. Everything is still progressing. Oof, that's terrible. Alrighty then. E&E News, Energy News. U.S. Canada. WIPP officials admit new release of plutonium and americium more expected in the future. Nearly double levels seen after February leak. 61 dpm on March 11th versus 36 dpm in February. Heads up in New Mexico. Get out of that area. Wow. I read somewhere, I think it was Dutch Censor, one of them, said that it might have, the whole collapse might have been caused by some kind of fracking that was done not far from that area. Heads up on that. Alrighty then. BP Earthwatch. Let's check him out. I'm just going to tell you what he's talking about. 19 reports of a large fireball over Ohio, New York, Pennsylvania, and Ontario. Moving east to west. Heads up. Also, 5 reports over Colorado, South Dakota, Nebraska, and Wyoming. Hey, here in Central Florida, I heard a big bang. It could have been, it was like a sonic boom coming in. Yeah, that was somewhere around 9 o'clock at night. Oh yes, heard something weird, big blam. Almost like a sonic boom, but there wasn't 2 of them, it was just one big bang. Alrighty then. Well, now it's the eve of Thursday. We're at Wednesday hump day. We're almost there. Hang on. It's 3 days down. 2 to go before the weekend. Stay safe. Be prepared for anything. Please have your go bags ready. Have extra food for you and your pets. Be safe. And I'll see you tomorrow on the flip side. Alrighty then. Stay tuned. I'm going to run some... I myself couldn't afford a radiation detector. Oh no, Diane could afford that. So, I went on a channel, and I want you to see this. This is how you can build your own. So, some ways it's free. Check this out. Alrighty then, take.
Welcome to 3 Minutes with RQ. I'm a radiological scientific officer, and this is our nuclear survival complex. In this video, I am going to talk to you about some free or very low-cost radiation detection devices. To show you how to build your own radiation detector at home. Just using materials that you have around home. Costs you nothing to build it. And the radiation detector we're going to show you how to build actually has better performance than many of the very expensive radiation detectors that you can buy commercially on the market. So it isn't a toy in any way. It's high performance. It'll do the job for you. It's very simple to build, relatively speaking, that you can buy as an app for your telephone, your cell phone. I've never actually seen one. I've had friends write me about them and say they've gotten them. I've asked the lab to test the thing. They say yes, it actually works. And I haven't heard any great enthusiasm about it from anyone. But maybe it's a way to go, and you can check it out. And they're not expensive. Some sites actually give them away free, and you use your cell phone, and it shows a little graph inside this on your cell phone display. I don't even own a cell phone, so I can't tell you much about this. That shows you about the amount of radiation, and so it'd be a way to go if your cell phone is working. EMP and cell phones, I don't know how that's going to work out, and you have to have a battery for your cell phone, and it's another option that you can consider. Here, just regular fluorescent tubes. You can use them. You just take them in your hands like this, go out and stand under any power line. I'm talking about today, at night, and you'll see these things light up. Now, what they're being lit up by is radiation from the high tension power lines. And there are videos on the internet of people doing this. It's a well demonstrated phenomenon. These will light up every time at night under a power line. Theoretically, and of course I've had no way of testing this, they'll also light up in the presence of radiation, the same ionizing radiation I've seen in the literature that causes them to light up. Now, I'm not going to stand in the presence of such radiation to demonstrate that to you, but it's just something to think about. If ever your power goes off everywhere and you're sitting there in the dark at night, but your fluorescent light tubes have lit up, yeah, it's pretty indicative that there's radiation present. So there's another free radiation detector that you have right there in your home. Not one I'd rely upon, and the difficulty with it is it would only tell you about the presence or the non-presence of radiation. This next little radiation detector is so inexpensive that we are able to give away one to people who buy our Team Leader kit of books. And so this one is called, you can buy them separately too on the internet, but this one is called a rad sticker. And I have just had to get a new driver's license, so I'm about to put on a new rad sticker on the back of my driver's license. Simply take the rad sticker, peel off the backing, and put it on the back of your billfold, back of your driver's license at some place where sure it doesn't cover up any critical information. Just stick it on there, as I have. Now I have a rad sticker on my driver's license. I can put this in my billfold or pocket or wherever, and even in my billfold, the radiation would go right through the billfold if there were radiation present, and you would be able to see the amount of radiation that you had received. And so that is a very useful thing, because you always have it with you. You don't have to worry about it. It's just sitting there in your billfold and it's with you. The last one that I'm going to tell you about is really the best of all, and it's totally free, and we give full instructions on how to build it on our website, and I'm just going to show you some details about it. I'm going to explain in a moment here how to build the Kearney fallout meter. The first one I built 40 years ago worked just fine, and I hadn't bothered to build one again until recently, and when I tried to do so, I was having trouble getting it to work. I tried one thing and another, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And so finally I called up the fellow who helped Crescent Kearney redesign it, and it's in the revised divisions of his book. And he explained to me what the problem was. Technology has changed in the last 40 years, and all the materials that I was able to get back then, such as going to my wife's sewing box and picking up a roll of thread, they don't make static thread anymore. All thread today is made non-static. Fishing lines, same thing. One thing after another. Even dental floss. Nothing was working for me. But I finally did find the solution, or he told me the solution. I wouldn't have known otherwise, and I'll explain more about it later. But the solution are those garment bags that you get your dry cleaning back in. They cling to everything. They are just the most clingy stuff you can imagine. And they, even to themselves. And so what this stuff is the material that you want to use. You can just go to your closet and get a garment bag, or you, like myself, go down to dry cleaners and pick up a new one. So I folded this all up, so I have lots of the material there on hand to make the threads that we use in the Kearney fallout meter. And I'll show you how to do that in a moment here. Some details here about how to build a Kearney fallout meter. So you just lie down a good girl. That's right. Well, we're going to talk about this. So a couple other items that you have to make up. You have to make up the insider for this. Now, we just take a piece of aluminum, rather copper wire, and wrap it with some tape again to insulate it, and around it we put some electrician's tape so that when you grab a hold of this, you're going to be insulated from the wire. And this wire sits at an angle into your unit here, and then you have to excite it. And I'll explain how we excite it. What we do is you have to find a piece of plastic, and I just look around my drawer of my desk, and I have these old things left over from doing drawings and things. I found the ones that really work very well for me are these old templates for drawing flow charts, and I get a couple of these together, and then you need a piece of wool. I have 2 or 3 of these in my hand and a piece of wool, and I just sight it like this, and you'll get a spark that you can then, when this is in there, take it up to it, and the spark will jump from here to there, and that's how you charge your radiation detector. This is a well-known trick. Everybody knows about it. We used to shuffle our feet across the floor when people had wool carpets. Today everything's anti-static. I don't know if it works anymore, but we had great fun doing that. And you come up to the doorknob of the room and put out your hand, and a spark that big would jump across to the doorknob. Or you'd do this and walk up to somebody and sneak up behind them and touch their elbow, and they'd shoot, you know, because you put out this big spark. The overall principle of the working of it is simply that these two little foils hang down inside and underneath your piece of a plastic saran wrap or whatever you call it, and you have this wire goes down, touches the inside according to the drawing, and you give it this charge, and they'll spread apart between your two gauges that you look down, and you put a ruler over the side to get your head the right height above them, and you look down in there and you see how far apart they are, and then you jot down that number and the time, and you come back and look at how long it takes them to come back together, and that gives you the measure of radiation. Works very, very accurately, very simple to build, and you can do this and it costs nothing. Just the materials around your house to do it. This one new trick I had to learn is how to make those filaments today, because you can't go out and you can't go to the wife's sewing drawer and get a piece of thread or fishing line or this. Everything today is anti-static, but we make it out of these garment bags, and I'm going to show you exactly the detail of how we do that, because that's the trick. Okay, Gemma dog, what we're going to do is now show people how to make the threads that they use in the Kearney fallout meter. And we have a work table here. We put over it a piece of cardboard, and on top of the cardboard we put a piece of brown paper. There we are. We have our piece of brown paper, and first thing we've got to do is tape it down to our cardboard. This gives us something to cut into. Now, what we need to put on top of the brown paper is our garment bag. That's what I use. Taping on the garment bag. Now, I take a ruler, and I'm going to mark off in here. I marked from the bottom edge of my cardboard here, so I don't get these across from each other. Some markings 1/4 inch apart. Here's a 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch. Go down here and get a marking, and start off here, 1/4 inch. And so now I can lay my ruler in between these 1/4 inch markings. Then between those markings I cut straight line, and we move up here to our next marking on each side, and we cut another straight line across my little strips. Right, there's one. I'm going to cut it loose, break it loose. Now, I have this long strip here. I didn't get quite as straight as I'd like, but for a demo, and you can do it over and over, and you do 20 of them, and then you pick the 2 that you like best. That's what you do. I kind of like to wrap it around a pen here, and same thing for the other edge here. Wrap that around the pen, and I get this stretched out here, and I start pulling this and pulling this and pulling this, and you can see it's just stretching right out there into a string. Just a thin little thread. You have to pull very, very even, very, very slowly. To do the first one you do, it may take you 10 minutes pulling. Eventually, I end up with a thread, a long thread. Eventually, I'll end up here just like this. A nice, thin thread. And you want to get as thin as you can, nice. And that's what you're going to put in between your foils. And that's, you too can build yourself a radiation detector at home. These are some drawings that show the simplicity of building this unit. On our way.
Let's go.
On my way.
Who's driving?
I'm ready.
Who was she?
Who's who?
The chick in your dream?
Baby, she was just walking down the street. I only looked once. I did not look twice.